Today, I had the luxury of interviewing the co-owner of GoHighLevel, the CEO of GoHighLevel, the software that we use, to run our entire agency. And the interview was fantastic, about 35 golden nuggets worth of minutes. And the amazing thing is that sometimes, business owners don't always agree on everything. And this interview is great because anybody that watches my content knows the things that I stand for and the things that I don't. And of course, listen, I'm interviewing somebody. I purely want to know what their thoughts and opinions are about certain things. But to test out my audience here, and I'm going to give away $100 randomly to the person who gives the right answer. Put the minute of the video of what you think that I would disagree with. It's only one part of this video. It's I literally want everything that Sean and I talked about. Matter of fact, he has reaffirmed everything that I've been teaching people, just like you, since 2017. That model has not changed. We talk a lot about the model and how you guys should, in my opinion, how I think you should build your agency. And then he gives his model and GoHighLevel, what they push and what they believe the model is. And the beautiful thing is that everybody has opinions and we can agree, we can disagree, but we all respect each other. And so not to make it obvious, I kind of just went right into the next question, which is great. I love this. I love online businesses. I love entrepreneurship. I love to agree with 95% of things and then disagree with the 5%. It's what makes freedom of speech and capitalism go around. So let's jump into the interview and have me stop talking. So what I want to do first is number one, thank you. I appreciate you doing this.
Of course.
I know your time is extremely valuable, as is mine.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. So let's rock and roll. So first of all, I have Sean Clark here, and I want to first say thank you for everything you guys built. I don't know if you've ever heard my story. I'll keep it under 15 seconds. But during COVID, my coaching business, my agency was about to go, but I was literally going to apply for a job. And the biggest decision that we made was to lower our monthly costs for everything. And what we did was we started with the agency, right? We moved every ClickFunnels, Ring Central. I was using 15 different softwares, got it into GoHighLevel. I did it all myself. I learned so much about GoHighLevel that I said, you know what? Let's get all of our coaching agency students into here to weather the storm. And that kind of was the beginning of where we are now. So I appreciate you guys and all the work.
That's pretty awesome. That's a great story. Good for you.
Yeah, I posted it a couple of times. I tell it, but I always like to just throw that in there because people always say, what's so great about GoHighLevel, especially the people who haven't used it yet. And I'm like, listen, you guys have no idea. Sometimes businesses, they got to slash, they got to weather the storm. And, I was paying $5,000 a month for all the tools down to $297. So
there you go.
60 grand a year.
It. That's a great story if you ask me.
Yeah. And I was making 60 grand a year as a teacher. So to save 60 grand a year was a big
deal. Yeah. 100%.
So really quick, what I would love to do is, and I know you've done this 1,000 times, but a quick background, how GoHighLevel got started. And then we'll jump into that.
Well, I like the story just because I feel like, if I can do this, anybody can. It was, fairly sort of simple and straightforward in that I had a previous software company I'd started in the accounts receivable space. And basically that just means I sent automatic reminders for people to pay invoices. And it was a great journey. I mean, I got about 1,000 small businesses off my kitchen table, but it was just me. I learned a lot of lessons and that I didn't charge nearly enough money. And I ended up kind of coding myself into I was just basically a job. And so I was cool to say I got 40, 50 grand a month in revenue. It was also I couldn't do anything. I couldn't add any features. I was full-time customer service. I had customers in the US, customers in Australia. So it's basically on 24/7. It felt like, and it was a grind. And one day I got a random call it was a cold call from a business broker who said, name a price, I'll sell your business in the next 2 weeks. And if I don't, you don't owe me anything. And I just named a price, which at the time I thought was nuts. And he came back the next week with 3 offers. So clearly I'm an idiot and I don't know how to price businesses, but that's cool. And it wasn't enough to retire, sadly, otherwise I wouldn't be here, but it was enough that I could do something else. And I sort of try to take all the lessons I learned there and bring them to something else. And, even that was a real journey. So like the first lesson I learned, the first thing I learned was I need help. I needed a partner. And so I called the smartest engineer I'd ever met. I'm a software engineer by trade, and he was just much smarter than me. So the thing you want to do in life is find people who, even if it's a thing you really identify as, if you find somebody and kick your butt at it, you really ought to work with them if
Sure.
possible. So that's my co-founder Varun. So I did that, and then we got started at first. It was a Android-based payments app that was gonna we're gonna make money off payments instead of charging people monthly fees. Totally failed. Then we were like, okay, we're gonna go create a management software to run like HVAC and service businesses. I actually had customers for my existing business that had those, those types of people, and we showed it to them. And they're like, yeah, that's cool, but we already have this, and it's like has 100 times more features. So what's so special about yours? And so that totally failed, and that was like 6 months of our lives right there.
Yeah.
And so then, literally, again, kind of same story. We're getting kind of desperate and like didn't know what to do. And it was like, okay, somebody had said something. One of the customers, I think, was like, yeah, this is great, but I really want something to grow my business. And so then I would kind of went on a hunt for that. And I am a really terribly uncreative individual. So, but I am really good at pattern recognition, and I try hard to kind of listen to the stories of other people. And the trick in my industry, software as it were, is most companies, even the really big ones, don't make any money. A lot of them are running based on other people's money, and that was something I didn't have access to. So I tried to find somebody I felt like was helping small businesses grow and actually profitable, or could be profitable if maybe run more efficiently.
Sure.
And so so that was sort of our Highlevel 1.0, and it was really two-way text messaging and reputation management. And that is kind of the start of Highlevel in the sense that people got excited about it. They saw the potential for them to grow it. But then, of course, right as you think you've solved the problem, you run into another one, which was, they would sign up 2 weeks later. They would come back. They see the download. They'd sign up and say, "It's amazing things. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen." 2 weeks later, they come back and they cancel. And as two software engineers, the first thing you ask is, well, what feature is missing, right? Because you saw the demo, like, we didn't lie to you, like, what are we not getting here? And they were like, oh, it's great, except we just don't have time to implement it. And that right there was a very crushing blow for us, because as two software engineers, that wasn't like you need to build this other thing. It was like you have to create something that you can't, which is like more time or whatever.
Sure.
And lucky for us, in that moment, we had a co-customer in common with a marketing agency, and that marketing agency cold called us and said, hey, we'd love to see what you're doing for our customer. And, like every great idea I have ever come across, my initial reaction was, that's the stupidest thing ever. That I do not want to talk to this guy. He doesn't even pay me any money. What the heck?
Yeah.
But he was super nice. So we got on the phone with him, and, it took a while, but what he taught us, mostly because I'm a slow learner, but what he did is not only did he buy for his whole agency, and that was cool, but it still wasn't enough that I was like, oh, that's cool, but now what? But what he taught us was, if you really want to help the small business, you really need to help the people helping the small business. And he really opened our eyes to the fact that there was this whole world of people out there who were sort of behind the scenes, who got very little credit. And initially you call them agencies, but now, they're marketers or entrepreneurs. There's different categories and camps, but fundamentally they are people who have the time and energy and expertise to learn not only the tools, but the techniques, and kind of put them together. And sometimes they do that on behalf of themselves. Sometimes they do it on behalf of small businesses, but net, we realized that there was a very underserved market there. And we said, that's it. We stopped selling SMBs, we went right after agencies, and, here we are.
Awesome. Yeah. What year was that when you first started? I guess, I don't know what you called it back then. Was it also Highlevel?
I think, no, it was Highlevel, but we had like ReadySoft was our app and stuff. So I don't know. It's like, it's probably been about 7 years now, at least 7 years.
So in 2018,
that sounds about right.
2018. So funny enough, we, for our coaching, because I have about 8,000 agencies that, most of them were beginner agencies, but we had some, maybe 1,000 or so that were 4 or 5 client agency types. They wanted to learn how to scale. And, the biggest problem was what? It was that the follow-ups. And so we built a software called True Lead, which was two-way text follow-up, and True Review for the reputation management. True Lead, we got the idea from, you ever heard of Agent Legend?
I think so.
Yeah, it was a two-way text with realtors and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm certain I have at some point heard of that.
Yeah, and so we did that in 18, and we sold it to our group, and And then it was the same thing with you. Like we thought about selling it, and then we were like, "There's no way we could do this. Like, you need a team." Oh my God. Spam call, spam call, spam call.
I registered the domain on January 11th, which is funny enough, the day before my birthday on 2017. So yes, yeah, we're
2017.
far off. There we go.
Yes, you're going eight years now.
Well, that's when I registered the domain. I suspect it was not
Oh,
much at that time, but
it's always
that was
that 90.
that was the start, right? That was when my wife said, "You need to call it High Level," and I said, "I can't. The domain is taken." She's like, "Too bad. That's a great name." And I was like, "Oh crap! So what can I add to it? Top, up, down, around, go. All right, go. That sounds good enough. Let's move. Let's do it."
I like to go high level. Let me shut this light off. We kill two birds with one stone and do shorts on this thing, and it ain't working. All right. So, all right, cool. So I have some questions here. So first of all, I did send a survey out to all of our students to see like what's the
Oh,
biggest things.
cool.
Yeah, what's the biggest things they wanted to know. So funny enough, you just answered one of the things that I wanted to know was because I did hear that you started out as a product for small businesses, but then you pivoted. So you kind of touched
Yes.
on that. Is there a bigger reason, or is it just more about like you wanted to just touch more small businesses and the best way to do it was through the marketing agencies?
Well, I mean, I guess thinking back, I suppose we could have gone a different direction. I think though, what really was appealing to us is, and this has been a hallmark of kind of how we've created the business going forward is, a lot of companies end up trying to kind of do all of it and try to be good at everything. And we just didn't like Vern and I both looked at each other and we were like, we feel great writing code all day long and we
Yeah,
can make anything. But gosh, sales and marketing just are not our deal. And so we were thinking, how could we create a world where we didn't have to do any selling or marketing? So
sure. Yeah,
I think what was great about the marketing agencies is they were like, oh no, we do that all day long. That's what we do for a living, and we understand that, end to end. And then the other thing, I guess, is in talking to marketing agencies, there are a lot of other cool things. Like it's a very collegiate world. So like marketing agencies tend to like talk to each other. They see themselves as a community, and as a result, it's not like I'm not going to talk to this person because they're like my enemy or my
sure.
competitor. Refuse to share. So that was cool. And also, they were kind of the unsung heroes, I felt like, of a lot of these small businesses. They had already done a lot of this stuff with other tools, but they got very little credit for it. In most cases, I think the tools that existed took a lot of advantage of them, and we're getting a lot of their customers from them.
Hmm.
And I think some of them kind of knowingly like sort of knew that was happening and sort of said, "Oh, well, that's just great. We'll keep riding it." And then I think some actually had no clue that that's what was happening, and they were just sort of blind to it, and they just assumed that Bob the plumber had shown up on their own, when in reality it wasn't a marketing agency who had said, "Hey, Bob, I need you to go sign up for this, and then give me your username and password." And so once we understood that, and then we started to understand a lot of the limitations of the existing tools, like if you have 100 clients, like you have to log in and out 100 times at different accounts,
Sure.
like that's nuts. So
Yeah.
there's no way to centralize it, all that. And then the big thing, of course, we hit upon to kind of your point of what you guys did was lead nurture, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, we're running Facebook ads and we're getting the lead, and yay, we're one cent a name and all this nonsense, but it never converts. And so the dentist, doctor, lawyer, lawn care guy, whatever, fires us because the leads don't come in, right?
Yeah.
And
Big
so
suck.
automating that lead nurture and making it real time and getting people to book appointments and everything else, that is really what got us off the blocks and really was our
Sure.
first feature.
Nice. Sweet. All right. So one big push that that I know not only you guys, but like just in general is the SaaS
Sure.
play, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so I'm curious on your opinion,
Mhm.
software as a service or service with a software. When you hear that, what's your
I mean, I mean, I'm a software guy. So SaaS means software as a service. But
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just curious what you think like as as a business model, what you
oh,
think is
you know what? I think, I actually, the best person, again, I'm a great thief. I'm terrible at, so I try to give credit where credit's due. I think Mike Cooch got this one right for me. I think it's services that scale, I think is his way he says it, but the way he
uh
explains it, I guess, is the way I like it. Sort of, you think about like tools at one end, like just raw software at one end, and then what we ran into, right, which is marketing agencies like bespoke custom services at another. You basically are trying to meet in the middle, right? So you're trying to say, listen, the same outcomes, or actually other side, sorry, same outcomes you're
sure.
getting with these amazing services that are super unscalable and super expensive and basically make me a slave to you, and that for a price you don't want to pay. right? I can take tools over here and I can bring them together and I can sort of get you the same outcomes or very similar to for a heck of a lot less money. And they scale beautifully for me. I can be happy, have a business, go on vacation maybe someday, and you can be really thrilled because you're still getting people to come to your website and buy your stuff and grow your business. So it was like a win-win for both sides. And for us,
Win-win.
it was really about trying to help people understand there's a better business model out there.
Sure. So what you're saying essentially is that you combine together, but with the tool eliminates the amount of time I have to spend to do the services. So therefore, I could charge less and be able to
A
scale
lot
it
less.
more.
Yeah, and the business is still very happy because they get what they were hoping for, which is a heck of a lot less money to pay out. So they still
Mhm.
they don't want to do their own marketing, so that's still the thing, right? They don't want to do their own sales, their own CRM, they don't want to do anything in software, but they also don't want to pay $3,000 a month plus ad spend, which is what I always used to hear,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
to do any of that stuff. So the software really helps bring you into the middle where you can charge a price that's more like $300 a month. They still get those same outcomes because the software is really doing all the work. But the marketer is doing all of the setup, is sort of maintaining as things get different, right? As like, Facebook goes out and TikTok comes in or whatever it might be, the strategies are being reworked, but you can rework them one time instead of reworking them for every client and starting from scratch every time. And again, the business owner continues to get an ROI positive outcome and they're thrilled. And so are you, because now you don't have to like, oh my God, it's my $50,000 a month contract. If they pull this contract, my whole life is over. Like you just don't have to be enslaved to this one big customer or a couple of them.
What niche do you think is the best when it comes to SaaS or services? Like, well, no, I should say this. What niche do you think, or niches do you feel that the SaaS play is like? You're gonna
Such
say,
a loaded question.
I know.
So, okay, so here's the problem. There's two parts to this. One is I've been around long enough to know the play, which is it used to be that if you're a coach, you would sell in, you'd say, look, first thing you need to do is pick your niche. And I get why it happened. It sounds lovely. It sounds like, okay, I'm gonna get really good at dentists or something, and I'm gonna get like really good at running their ads. And it just makes logical sense. Like I'm gonna get really good at this, and the dentists are gonna see it and they're gonna appreciate it, and wow, it's gonna be amazing. In my opinion, that rarely worked. And here's why. Fundamentally, it's the dentist doesn't have the time to appreciate your work. And I know this sounds weird, but the reality is it's simple. They sit down at the end of the month, they say, they get with their bookkeeper, they say, show me all my expenses, and they look at the most expensive ones, they try to take them out. And they don't have time to look at the ROI. They don't understand how all this works. They don't know what ROAS is and all this other nonsense. They just know that you're expensive and that there's a BMW down at the dealership that looks really nice and the lease is less than they're paying you. And that's all they need to know to cut you. And so fundamentally, this is where the whole pick your niche thing, in my opinion, rarely works. Now, caveat to this, if you've been doing this for years and you have a scaled agency and this and that, you can go to the annual conferences and you're only targeting the top percent of the industry and you have lots of case studies to back it up, fine, that's a different situation. But 99% of the time when I get asked this question, it's, hey, listen, I'm getting started or I've just started or I'm pretty new at this. What would you recommend? So with that all out, I would tell you local. I love local. And it is very simple here. Every agency I used to talk to before it was SaaS, before we had the software, for all that was all going, the local guys never had churn. They never lost customers, or very rarely. And why is that? It wasn't because they were geniuses or they were super good at one niche or any of this other nonsense. It's because they could create connections that would last a lifetime.
Yep.
And so fundamentally, if you want to know how to be successful, it's right out your front door. It's at the local chamber of commerce. It's at the BNI meetings. It's a lot of local stuff that honestly doesn't sell courses, isn't sexy, doesn't sound like the next hot thing. But what it does is it consistently makes money. It's super scalable because most people, there are thousands or tens of thousands of businesses out their front door. And it's really easy to do compared, in my opinion, to trying to like sell to some dentist 10 states over that you're never going to meet.
Yep. Now, I did load that question because I knew how you were going to answer it. I've seen some.
But I like to, I want to peel back the onion because there's a lot to that question. And I feel like sometimes, people want this easier answer, but I'm telling you, in fact, I would even say, to be fair, anybody who is great at some niche, unless you're like, again, I know a couple of agencies, just a good example is like the Josh Nelsons of the world who have Plumber SEO, who've been doing this for like 30 odd years.
Yeah. He's
an exception to this rule, but 99.9% of all of you should walk out your front door. And if you haven't sold to every small business that you can get to with your 2 feet or your car, you're doing yourself a disservice because all of them would love to buy software as a service or service as a software or whatever you want to call it from you.
Yeah. And so you reaffirmed everything I always say on my YouTube channel and to my coaching students. So I wanted everybody to hear because nobody listen. It's so funny. It's like, you know how it's like you need to hear it from somebody else to be like, oh, you know, they've
Sure,
always been
sure.
saying that. But when we have 32 done for you, like 2-page sites for traffic and stuff like that, niches
Oh, that's cool.
in
That's
our
great.
coaching program. Yeah.
Yeah.
That they get with GoHighLevel and stuff like that. And as a snapshot. And we had 32 of them because we had 32 clients in 32 different niches. And so, like, if you know, like, you pigeonhole yourself to somebody you might even hate to work with, and why, we always say, why
Oh
even do
yeah,
that?
100%, 100%. And in fact, I found that people who would really settle on a niche, they would invariably they'd always be pining for like the grass is always greener on the other side because they would find some in their mind some like linchpin issue, like oh man, real estate agents are always terrible because of this, or lawyers are always terrible because of that. And they sort of thought, well, if I just had picked a different niche, glory would be right around the corner. But I
Sure.
think it's what we got to understand is I would say models matter, and I think I stole this from Warren Buffett, but the model that you're using has
Hmm.
a lot more to do often with your success, I think, than something like picking a niche. And
Right.
again, I think it's things models are like price points and offers and so forth and so on, and customer bases and how you attack them. And a lot of times, again, back to pattern matching, look at like Patterson Dental.
Hmm.
They're a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company, but to their customer, they appear local. What are they? They're the guy who drives or gal or drives around a van to all the
Hmm.
dentist office locally and drops off their supplies. But
Hmm.
they sell locally, and they have scaled because they appear local, and even though they are national, and so, but it's that local presence.
Sure.
If they were going to try to start shipping this stuff out from some warehouse, they'd lose all their customers tomorrow because they would lose that personal connection.
Yeah, yeah, and even like if you look at like medical supplies, and they have the
Yeah,
salesperson within the 5-10 mile radius, and they visit them, and they bring lunch, and they do talks,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah,
And that's what I've always said. On that day when your customer gets angry with you, and it will happen, for whether it's their fault, your fault, or no one's fault, whether they're just having a bad day, at some point, that's the point. You have the capacity to go buy a box of donuts and drive down there and say, hey, hold on, let me help you out. And that right there will cement that relationship in a
yep,
way that nothing else can, if you're remote.
100%, yeah. And there's nothing better than a predictable business because there's nothing scarier than a non-predictable
Yeah,
business. That
100%.
is for sure. And so this again, you brought me right into the next one. Best place to start prospecting for somebody that's new.
Yeah, just right out your front door. And
Right
again,
out.
what's cool about this is so start to think about like who your competition is, right? So let's say you're competing against a software company. Maybe they have a lot more money than you and they have more ads than you and this and that. But guess what? They're cold calling and cold emailing and pestering the heck out of people. And once they make the sale, the salesperson's
That's
going to get
it.
their commission, going to vanish into the dark, and they'll say, if
Yeah.
you have a problem, call the 800 number. Like that's who you're competing against. I mean, what a slam dunk. That's so easy to win. And then let's say you're competing against a local marketing agency. Well, guess what? You have the tools and the software and the ability to automate and reduce the cost of the same outcomes and solutions as them. So yeah, you might be pitching the same outcome, but for a tenth of the cost, and you're not cutting, you're not losing money on the deal. What you're doing is you're providing that same outcome, just using a more efficient tool set. So even there, you're going to be able to compete. So no matter who you're running up against, you can win all day long and not worry about that. And again, because of that local connection, I'm telling you, even I sort of think about it like when we all start something new, we're terrible at it. But when you start something new locally, at least you have this connection. Like, oh, wasn't that storm crazy last week? Oh, your kid goes to the same school as my kid. Like, just
Oh yeah.
invariably you pick up stuff. There's something in the water, right? And people, we all are like that. We're sort of a tribal society, a tribal culture. So you really should lean on that when you're trying to get your business started.
Yeah, and I had what a lady in our coaching program. I actually think you've met her before, in Louisiana, and she had a multi-million dollar, like literally locally, like multi-millions that
Yeah.
she was doing. She didn't have to go anywhere outside of like,
That's actually not okay. So what's funny about that is that story is not actually that difficult. If you
no.
do the math on $300 a month times X number of, 12 months times X number of customers, like it's actually not that hard to do that.
Hmm.
And so I think that's the thing that most people should recognize. That is not a outlandishly difficult story. It just
Nope.
take an Excel spreadsheet and do the math. And what's great is, it's always very hard for your first couple clients, but as you get rolling, you'll
Yes.
get better at the pitch. Your reputation will precede you. You can get a lot of your customers to be your, I mean, a lot of local businesses, they like other local businesses.
Yeah,
They're not,
referrals.
you're probably not going to get dentists to refer to the other dentists, but they're probably going
No.
to refer to the chiropractor or the whatever that they know. And, there's a lot of magic there
Yeah,
that can happen and snowball that growth.
100%. Yeah, very well said. If you had to pick this is my question. I like to ask the
Yeah.
hard ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you had to pick two services, oh, it's 7:53 already. Well, we're almost done. I only got two more.
Oh, it's all good.
Um,
Not for me.
if
It's 4:53. Ha.
where are you? Are you in California? Where are you?
Oregon, but
Oh, Oregon. Okay.
yeah, it's a state
Um,
above California and below Washington. That's how I used to explain it to all the taxi drivers in New York who were like, where?
where's Oregon? Yeah.
Yeah,
But actually, one of my business partners years ago was from Oregon.
there you go.
Um, if you had to pick two of your favorite features in Go High Level, which
Yes,
ones would you
yes.
pick?
Okay, so the best features are okay. So here's the
No,
thing, right?
not AI. You can't choose AI though.
Well, hold on.
So, because
That's not fair.
okay, you were gonna say so three. Let's start. Then let's do
Okay,
two.
well, here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. So think about it from the customer perspective. So most of the time, you have to figure if you're walking into a business, they've been pitched a lot of things, but most of the pitches work like this. Hey, if you give me X amount of money, I'll give you Y amount of new business leads, whatever, right? So what you want to do is think about things that are going to allow that business owner to pick up new leads and new customers without actually spending ad money, because that's really what most things boil down to, right?
Yep.
So what you want to do is realize that most businesses have what I think of as remnant leads. These are people that are coming to the business right now and being ignored. And here's the trick of the trade here. Those business owners don't know. And here's how this is how this looks. Okay, this is people coming to their website, right? Because all you got to have is a GBP profile these days, and you're going to get some traffic.
Sure.
And you have people calling. And here's what happens: you go to the website, and I don't care where they made it or how much money they spent, and all this other nonsense. It's too darn confusing, and you know it. And there's no way to take action. So here's the simplest thing to do: take the chat widget, put it on the website.
Mhm.
All you have to do is get one or two of those chats to turn into customers in a month. And right there off the back of that one thing, there's no ad spend. You've just been able to say, hey, listen, I got you that business, and that's enough to pay me $300 a month. Okay.
Yep.
So that's on the website. So then what about the phone calls? And this is where I get to cheat, I guess, but this is just how it is. Busy no answer call forwarding. So that is, you set it up so when I call the phone number for the plumber, it rings the plumber. If the plumber doesn't pick up, which by the way, they won't pick up all the time for various reasons, they're closed, it's after hours, it's the weekends, or they're busy, they're out, they're doing their thing, right?
Yeah.
It rolls over, and what picks up these days? That's right, AI picks up. Yeah. And this is a receptionist. We have it built in the system, and it's simple. All it's doing is saying, hey, thanks for calling Bob Plumbing. How can I help? Oh, you want to get an estimate? Oh, you want to book a time for us to come out and see you? You have some basic questions. AI can now do that beautifully. And because they didn't pick up and you did, now you've converted that remnant missed phone call into a customer. And as you can see here, we're not buying newspaper ads. We're not running television ads. We're not buying Facebook ads. We're not buying Google ads. There's no spend that has to happen up front for them. There's no give me money and then I'll give you results. You can show them results very, very, very quickly. And so for me, despite the fact that I used AI there, that's still the two that I would use.
Yes. What about rep management? Like the simple
you wanted three. You wanted three. So the third one is the reputation management for sure. And this is really, really simple. There's two ways to play this. So one, the biggest thing you want to do is you want to say, hey, listen, let's get a list of the people you served the last 30 days, and let's send them a text message blast. And we're going to do this very strategically. So we're going to send to everybody, unless of course there's somebody in there that you like absolutely hates you. Don't do that. But the vast majority of people, we're going to send it out to them. We're going to do it. We're going to drip it out very slowly over a week. And we're just going to say, hey, this is, and it has to look like a person. Hey, this is the actual name of a guy or gal who works here, preferably somebody who might be known, like the owner. Thanks a lot for letting us serve you. We'd love to know how we did. Here's a link that makes it easy. And that's it. And it goes to Google. There's no tricks. There's no funny business. There's no nothing. They click the link, it pops up the thing, and here's what will happen. The vast majority of people will leave a great review. And what you will show the business owner is what they've been missing, which is this predictive system that allows them to collect consistent 5-star reviews. And here's what the cool thing. You do it over a week, and at the end of the week, you say, listen, do you want this to stop? And they will say, absolutely not. And so you say, great, no problem. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hook it up. So every time a customer comes in, transacts, whatever, we'll send out one of these review requests. And over time, magic will happen. They'll get tons of 5-star reviews. Their Google rankings will go up. They will magically get more calls, more website visitors, and more everything. And this is all of this happens beautifully, automatically, for very little money and without any ad spend. It is the killer combo for putting your foot through the door.
Yep. And so, and then I'm going to add on to this because, one of the things, I mean, I've been doing this since 2014 and teaching this since 2017. And what you explained with like the chat and AI, we call that leads in advance, where you give the lead, like you get them leads first before you ask them for any money because you suck in the beginning or like you have
Yep.
nobody in the
Yep.
pipeline, and people can't say no after you show them the value first.
Correct.
And the rep management, I mean, we used to teach this with 5 different softwares just to get people started in the agency world. And
Yep.
like to me now, if you're just coming into learning how to start an agency, or like maybe you just learned a month or 6 months ago and you're struggling to get it started, this is like with Go High Level, this is the best time to get started because it used to be so much harder, so much
Yeah.
harder.
And it's funny though that even down the road when I got really good at the pitch, I might still give that away all the time because I might just realize that no matter how well I do, I might get really good and sound really good. But instead of having to like really go hard and make a sale,
Oh
you
yeah.
just know that you know what, you're always going to set it up so that the trap gets sprung after a week. Because the reality is as if you're the person who gives before they take, it's very hard to say no to you,
Yep.
right? And then once I'm on the take, right? Once I'm getting those 5-star reviews, I'm getting those new customers for my website. I am not going to shut that off, right? There's just no way I want less customers and less 5-star reviews. And for $300 a month, every business on planet Earth will say yes to that, and then you'll become like a utility bill. And I have proof of that. Like the one local business we still have is Alpine HVAC, and they've been a customer now for 6 years. And all they do is reputation management.
Yeah.
And they went from QuickBooks to a Service Titan, which is a big, amazing plumber thingy that has reputation management, by the way, but they do it in a really terrible roundabout way, and ours works a lot better. And so as a
Yep.
result, they still pay us, and they're thrilled to do it, and they don't use any of the other features we have,
Yep.
which I'm fine with. But they never call me either, right? So they never say like, "Hey, I need you to do this, I need you to do that." They just pay $300 a month, and they have for 6 years. And
Yep.
I don't anticipate that stopping anytime soon because we're consistently giving them what we said we would, which is 5-star reviews. They went from 12, then over 1,000. And guess what? They went from one truck to 30, and they're already the biggest in town. And I heard they're buying other people out in town, probably because they're growing like a weed.
Yep. Yep. And it's so easy to do. I mean, it's just we harp on this all the time. Like the first thing you got to get your foot in the door or anything is you do exactly what you said: message marketing with the lead list and reputation management. Those are the 2 services that you start
Yeah,
with, and then you
100%.
could always
100%.
decide to go up or not.
Yeah, so here's the other big trick. Like everyone, the other problem I find, or this is a big gotcha, people. So when you go into high level and you see 100,000 features and you think, gosh, I really got to learn all of these. No, you don't.
I'm going to jump in and tell you that this video is sponsored by my Go High Level affiliate link. And here's why. Exactly what Sean is saying right here in this video is the biggest problem that people who try Go High Level run into. They get the software, they get confused on how to use it, and they give up. And so my Go High Level training, if you use my affiliate link, the link is down in the description or pinned in the first comment. The Go High Level training that I have put together, and I spent over a year and have redone it multiple times, will teach you the service with the software. Meaning, if you want to run reputation management, here is the module to learn only that. You don't need to learn all the other features. If you're not selling AI, why learn AI? If you're only selling reputation management, here's a training on it. If you're only selling Facebook ads, here's the training on it and how to use it in Go High Level. If you're only selling customer reactivation campaigns, which is, Sean mentioned it, I think later in the video, that is the training on that. The biggest problem that people have, here's the biggest problem, is they get confused and they get paralyzed by analyzing. And they think they have to learn the whole software, and 6 months later, they're still trying to learn the software. But the reality is that, take it from me, it took me 8 months to learn all the features, and I still learn as they release new. But some of the stuff I don't need to know because I don't use it. So I don't care. And you should do the same thing. If you want to stop the chaos and actually learn only what you need to know and eliminate all your time and start making money, use my affiliate link. It's in the description, or pinned in the first comment of this video. Let's get back to the video. Yeah.
Not only do you not have to learn them to begin with, so that's easy. I get most people to agree with that. I'll tell you, I kid you not, if you can build an entire business on this and never learn most of those features, okay? And I'll tell you, the secret is we put most of those features in just to convince people to try the app, right? The ones that crush it are the ones we talked about here. You can build $100 million business on what we just talked about. And I can prove that because you can go look at, there's several other software companies out there. That's all they do.
Yeah.
And there are 100 million plus businesses. So please do not believe that this has to be complex or difficult to be successful. That is not how it works. And in fact, if you really take a minute to think, the vast majority of businesses at scale, they are, whether their product is fundamentally at some level complex or not, there is a stopping point where they just sell the same thing over and over and over and over again. And if they didn't, you wouldn't know their name because 100%. You can't buy custom cars and custom phones and custom clothes and custom, doesn't work, doesn't scale. So you need to create a business that's scalable. And this is how you do it.
All right, we're gonna end with this. Well, end with two things.
Sure.
I mean, you've already given a lot of advice for new agency owners. A lot of people that I'm around are new agency owners. What would be your number one piece of advice?
I mean, models matter. So make sure you have this model at some level in your business. And what I mean by that is something that is a box product is what I like to call it. Something that like lives within the box. It's like, if you want what's in the box, you get it. If you ask for anything outside the box, the answer is no, or let me give you the name of somebody else. Because you need something that scales, and realize that you need a price point that people can say yes to. You need to think about how you pair with their other expenses. But it's the model that you need to really, really, really think about. How have you created a model that works at 100 people, 10 people, 1,000 people, and doesn't has enough money in the bank to hire additional people to help you support it and grow it and all these things. It's the model that matters more than anything else in your business. I mean, if you think about, go all the way back to the agencies we originally worked at, with the reason why there was no like winner take all in the marketing agency space, because it doesn't scale, right? You have one employee, you have 100 employees. I knew agencies at both extremes. They don't have any kind of real momentum there. They don't, and in fact, if anything, the 100 is always harder than the one because you lose the big client, you got to lay people off. It's like, there's no scalability there. So that's the most important thing, is find the scalability in your model. I love what we do. I would tell you to do what we do and use the model we're talking about. I can think of very few that are better, but if nothing else, if you take nothing away from this, other than find a model that scales, because otherwise you're just always going to be on that hamster wheel of gaining clients, losing clients, gaining clients, losing clients, and it just never ends.
Yep. Let's end with this. What's the goal and future of GoHighLevel?
Our goal is, we feel like we have a model that is doing what we've always set out to do, which is we get to be nerdy and make products and features that we love, and we get to help other people take those tools and help small businesses. And so that model is very much in its start, and we are going to continue to scale it. So right now it is about, this year going international is huge for what we're doing. And then down the road, you're probably going to see us IPO. And we want to do that how we've always done it, which is by sharing that with our customers and making them part of it first. And so, however you want to work in our world, we have something for you on the affiliate side, on the agency side, on the entrepreneur side, and everything in between. But our goal is to take the model that we've made and use it to really change the face of how software is being sold and being used in and for small businesses.
That sounds awesome to me. I think you guys just had an event in Dubai, right?
It's gonna actually leave on Friday for that, so it'll be next week.
Oh, nice. My wife's been to Dubai. I've never been to Dubai.
There we go. So we had one in Dallas. We'll have one in Dubai. I think we'll have one in London this year as well, and possibly Australia. So we're as well as 4 in Dallas, and that's just the events we host. And then, of course, we're going to be out at all kinds of events all over the place. So, but yeah, events are a great place to meet people and network and really get to, again, have more of a personal connection.
Yeah, I was at the last the one 2 weeks ago in Dallas.
I remember.
I don't think I ran into you. We were all mingling and stuff like that. But no, not October, last week.
Last week? Yeah, I was in and out on that one because I went from Utah to San Francisco to Las Vegas to Dallas all in 5 days. So it was crazy. And then finally I was like, thank goodness, I just want to go home. So I probably missed a couple of people, but don't worry. I'll catch you on the next one.
That's awesome. Where can people find you if they need to?
Yeah, so I mean, I think if you don't know who we are, our YouTube channel is the best because I think
Mhm.
that's where we do a great job, sort of not only showing off software and features and all that good stuff, but also all the great people that are in our community. Because the other thing I think that people don't, what they don't understand that comes with high level that I personally think is actually more powerful than software is the community.
Sure.
So, we have really amazing, kind of like Michael Jordan level experts that you can hear from, but more, as importantly, all kinds of people like you who are at your level, who are struggling through it, all in the Facebook groups or in the at the events that we hold, all that stuff. So you get a chance to really kind of get in and, doesn't matter what you need, you'll find somebody who has either been there and wants to help or can show you how to do it, and everything else in between. So, but definitely start the YouTube channel. You get a lot of exposure to who we are and our culture and everything else.
Awesome. All right, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. We'll see you
100%.
at the next event. I'll
All
make sure I
right.
find you.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye-bye. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Well, I hope you got a lot of value out of that interview. Again, thanks to Sean Clark from CEO of GoHighLevel, co-owner of GoHighLevel, for doing that. I think there was a lot of nuggets to be said in this interview. I agree with 90% of everything that he said, and I think he would agree with 90. I mean, he has confirmed in case some of you guys are sick of listening to me, confirm things that we've been saying since I've been running the model since 2014 and teaching it the same model that works for those who work it since 2017. And so I want to invite you to finally get unstuck and go to highlevelrewards.com. It's pinned in the comment down below or in the description of this video. And once you opt in, okay, you're going to come to a video, and I'm going to explain everything. All you need to do is grab a 30-day free trial to Go High Level. That's it. Once you do that, okay, you're going to get a bunch of bonuses that are all explained down here and everything that's here, and then you'll be added to this private community where we have 780 current members in here, a mix of coaching students that are using Go High Level and my affiliates that are using Go High Level that use my affiliate link. And as you can see, we go live twice a week in this group to help you out. And then you get access to the Go High Level Agency Mastery course and possibly the beginner agency trainings. And within the Go High Level Mastery course, as I've mentioned in this beginning or middle of this video, we teach you how to run the services within Go High Level, how to set things up, how to get your agency set up. And then if you don't want to run rep management, then you don't need to watch this module, and then you don't have to learn that feature of it. Why get confused when you don't need to? Let us unconfuse you. It'll cost you nothing for 30 days. You'll get it 30 days for free, or you can upgrade and finally get unstuck and get your agency business growing. And why do we want to do that? Because then eventually you'll probably want to become one of our coaching students and rise above the rest, because when you have the foundations, it's a lot easier and a lot faster to scale your agency. And maybe you'll be interested in having us pair you up with a mentor, an agency CEO, to really catapult you and finally get you unstuck and not have to second mortgage your own home to do that. We'll see you on the next video. Peace out.